Today, we're talking about Kenya's President William Ruto and the pretty surprising story his PhD has to tell.
President Ruto has, on more than one occasion, brought up his doctorate to defend his government and push back against his critics.
So, who is President Ruto? He kicked things off as a member of parliament way back in 1997, and from there, he just methodically climbed the ladder. He held major cabinet positions, became the deputy president in 2013, and then, finally, won the presidency in 2022.
Let's switch gears completely from the statesman to the scholar and take a look at the president's other title, doctor.
And you know, this wasn't some honorary degree or a quick thing he did. His academic journey actually stretched over almost 3 decades, and he was doing it while his political career was taking off. He got his bachelor's degree back in 1990, finished his master's in 2011, and then finally got his PhD in Plant Ecology from the University of Nairobi in 2018 while he was the serving deputy president of Kenya.
So what in the world is plant ecology? Well, it's basically the science of how plants live and survive in their natural environment.
All right, so now we get to the really juicy part. We're actually going to look inside his PhD thesis to see what specific problem he spent years of his life researching.
So, here it is, the full title of his PhD thesis. And yeah, it is a mouthful, I know. But the really key phrase to focus on is influence of anthropogenic activities. All that really means is that he was scientifically studying how human actions were damaging the environment in one specific wetland area in Kenya.
So what did he find? Well, his conclusions are pretty clear. After digging through 3 decades of data, Dr. Ruto's own research found, without a doubt, that human behavior was having a direct negative impact. Riverbank areas, they were shrinking. Man-made buildings were creeping into natural land. And what was driving it all? Population growth and farming.
His recommendation based on all his research was crystal clear. You need to strengthen law enforcement. He argued for tougher rules, stricter planning, to stop people from encroaching on these vital natural areas, the forests, the wetlands, all of it.
So think about it. On one side, you have the scientist, Dr. Ruto, whose own detailed research concludes that Kenya desperately needs stronger laws to protect its natural land from human encroachment. And then on the other side, you have the statesman, President Ruto, whose political career, if you look at the public record, has been trailed by one controversy after another involving that exact issue, allegations of illegally taking over land, both private and protected public land. The contradiction there is just, it's massive.
How does a scientist who spent years studying the negative impacts of human encroachment actually govern a nation? What happens when the person who wrote the playbook on protecting the environment becomes the person in charge of it all? Something to think about.